What's up, y'all? It's Antonio. That's my girlfriend in the back right now. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about getting recruited and getting a collegiate scholarship. Just wanted to specify this before I start everything out. I'm focusing on track, but all these aspects can go to any sport. So if you're not just a track athlete, you can also use these things to apply. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to talk about before we talk about anything is the two main components that I feel like any athlete needs. So the first one is going to be dedication and sacrifice. First, you can't get to any goal in your life without being dedicated to it. So especially with sports, you have to make sure that you're dedicated to training, dedicated to the diet that comes with it, and the lifestyle that's going to come with that. Sacrifice goes into that as well, but going to parties, hanging out with friends, things of that nature, because you're not always going to have time for it. You have to be training and making sure you're improving. Tied in with those two things, I wanted to talk about character and grades. So an important thing that comes into being recruited is your character. The first thing a recruiter is going to ask when he's recruiting an athlete is, what type of person is he? They want to know they're getting a good person, not just a good athlete, because it makes them look bad if you're not good, and that's their job. And also, grades are very, very, very important. It's going to help you a lot with recruiting, because people with better grades who are good athletes are going to be taken to better schools. Nobody wants somebody who's a bummy student. If you and Charlie are both very, very good athletes, but Charlie has better grades, he's going to be taken 100% of the time. Schools don't want people with bad grades. Moving on from those two components that I feel every athlete needs and those little side pieces, we're going to move on to the things that will help you get a scholarship. The first thing is competing often. Too many people practice hard and don't compete enough. If you don't compete, you're not going to get the necessary stats and film for coaches to be able to recruit you, and there's not going to be a lot to see on you. You can practice as hard as you want, but if you don't compete, it doesn't show that you can translate that. Next, we're going to be moving on to recruiting sites and film. These are two really big ones that I feel every athlete needs to know. When you're coming out of high school, you got a lot of different recruiting sites that are going to help you be able to put your name on the sites, upload stats, be able to serve as a platform for coaches to be able to see you as an athlete around this big country where there's players everywhere. Also tied in with that are sites that you can upload film to. It's going to allow coaches to be able to see film on you and be able to break down your game, show it to different people. Having film is always good. You can send it off in email. The recruiting sites and the film sites tie in hand. They're usually the same thing, but those are really big in getting you to the next level and allowing coaches to see you and reach out to you. With that, I wanted to say a couple names of the sites. So first we have athletic.net. That's a really good site that's going to help you. We have Max Preps, and then we have TFRRS and Be Recruited. That's just a couple of the sites that I feel like will help you guys get a good start on that. Also, make sure you put your contact information, parents' contact information, email, school, update your stats often. A lot of the time, high schools will often sign up their players for these sites anyways. The meets will update the stats themselves, but in case that's not a thing, make sure after each meet, after each game, you update your stats and keep up to date so coaches know what's going on beginning of the season, midway through the season. They can track your progress and see if you align with their team. The next topic I wanted to dive into was reaching out to schools of all divisions. Make sure you start reaching out as early as you can. I say usually the beginning of high school is a good time to start reaching out and get on schools' radars. One thing is really important when you're being recruited is to not have too high of pride and think that you're too good for a Division III school or a JUCO school or a D2 school. It's D1 only. That's what a lot of people say. But realistically, have your eyes open, because you never know what can happen. And having as many schools interested in you as possible is always a good thing. So the first thing that's really important with that to do is make sure you email the coaches. You can find their official team site where it has the list of staff's contact information. You want to send a formal email out where you have some information about yourself, the important stuff for your sport, and you have your highlights in it. When reaching out, make sure you reach out to all the staff that are relevant. I run track and field, so if I was doing it, I would be reaching out to my specialist coach, and I would be reaching out to the head coach. I would be reaching out to anybody that basically is relevant to me. Reaching out to all the staff allows you to have more of a chance of them seeing it and answering it, because staff do get busy during the season especially, so it's important to reach out to everybody. Another tip with reaching out to schools is to be able to gauge where you are skill-wise. Don't shortcut yourself, but it's very important to be able to realistically know where you feel like yourself can be. Look at a ton of college. Make sure you don't just limit yourself to one. Reach out to D1, D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA. Look at their times and compare it to what you are. Start comparing yourself to other athletes who are in college. The thing I did a lot my senior year was I would compare my stats to a lot of college athletes and see where I was to them, and that would let me know how much I needed to work. I started saying, okay, these schools are, schools that I feel like would match with me based on my times and how many athletes they have. It allows you to kind of know what you're getting into, as well as see where you fit more. So when you are reaching out to schools, you're not just wasting your time. One part that is very important, moving on, is surrounding yourself with the right people. At the end of the day, the NCAA and college sports are a business. Having the right people around you to support you as an athlete, and also having the right people around you to be able to give you the best opportunities to succeed at the next level and get to the next level, more importantly, is very important. It doesn't take away from the fact that you still have to work hard to get there, but it definitely does help when you know somebody who can help you get there as well. So after telling you guys those tips that I had to help you get there, I just want to talk to you a little bit about how all this stuff kind of comes into play, and just realistically about getting recruited and how it really is. Go where you're wanted and go where you see yourself succeeding. Don't just commit to a school or go to a school because somebody wants you to do that, because at the end of the day you're going to be miserable. Once you commit, there are such things as transferring. You can always move around, you're not stuck to one place. Realistically, recruiting is hard. Getting recruited and being recruited is stressful to both types of athletes, and it's important to be able to know how to deal with that. If you guys want me to go into detail about the process of transferring or why I transferred, I can do that. Also as well, if you want me to go into talking about the stresses of recruitment and how to deal with the stress of recruitment, I can do that as well. Anybody can get recruited. People are going to doubt you consistently, and people are going to always tell you can't do something. At the end of the day, if you put in the work and you don't listen to what everybody's saying who isn't a key factor to your life, then you're going to be able to get there. Sometimes you may not understand the road that you're going through, and it might not make a lot of sense. You just have to have patience. To sum everything up, you want to be dedicated and sacrificed to the sport. You want to have proper training. You want to have good character and have good grades. You want to compete often. You want to be signed up for a recruiting site and a film site to put all your highlights onto. You want to start reaching out to schools of all divisions. And you want to surround yourself with the right people. If you do those things, I guarantee you'll be able to get a scholarship to play sports. Thank y'all for listening. I'll be up with another video soon. Appreciate y'all for hearing me.